All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome to GetFitCrew Call. Today is July 23rd, meaning that it's Summit in a few days. I can't wait. Okay, let me get to the screen share here. Thank you all for hopping on this morning. This makes me happy to see all these beautiful faces this morning. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So we have an awesome topic this morning, and I'm super glad that Nicole is going to speak on this topic. She's an amazing speaker. And Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life is an awesome topic. I actually read a book with that subject on it. It was a great book, and I believe it was called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, but I'll look for it, but I believe that was the actual title of the book.
Yes.
It was an amazing, amazing book. Actually, like reading that sentence makes me want to read the book again. It was really
Right
good.
there.
Yep, that's it.
Brian Tracy.
Great book. All about mindset and, and that's the number one thing to take yourself moving forward in your life, in your business, in anything you want. It starts with your mind. But I wanted to welcome all these new faces so far for July. We still have a week, so I'm hoping we add some more on there. And we have some new coaches on our team also that were actually welcomed on the last call, but I'm super excited that we have some newbies hopping on the calls. So I wanted to welcome all of these people. Christina, you guys might think she's not a new coach. She was a coach under me, and then her husband signed, so she waited the 6 months to sign under him. So I wanted to welcome her back to the team. So we're trying to get him rank advanced and get her going. So, but we have some great faces here, so I'm excited. And this is like my favorite slide to always do on the call. I mean, first of all, look at all, like I used to have to never fill all this in. I used to just put a couple names on there. Now we always have a full slide. I actually hired my daughter and she helps me with these slides. She looks in my back office and writes everyone's names down and puts them where they belong on the slide because there's so many names. It takes time. But I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of these Success Club people. Nicole Betancourt, she's been a discount coach for a while and just decided to start building her business, signed her first coach, and she's at Success Club 4. So she's 1 point away from getting her name in that $100 cash pot that I'm giving away in September. So I'm like super stoked. So congratulations, Nicole. Great job. Christy, who is on the call, a new coach as well, has herself on the board, and she's been chatting with a few people about the business opportunity, which I know is the hardest thing that people find that the hardest to talk about. So great job, Christy. Jo Dana is back on the board. She was doing her coaching business, decided to take a little break, and now she's back at it. And then we have Jessica Miner, who is at Success Club 2. This is her first time having any points. So we have a lot of new people on the board that have never helped anybody yet and never got the point. So that's great to see that they're getting ready and building their business. Okay. So we only have a few days left until Summit starts. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. So Amy and Tara will be meeting me there. So I'm super excited to spend the time with them and put a game plan together for their businesses and how we can grow their business and what goals we want to set for our team. I know right now we're shooting for become an elite team. So I'm excited to start planning. I love going to these events and it really like gets my mind going, and I have to do mind dumps every night when I get back to the hotel room when I go to these events of all these ideas that I have going on. Another thing that everyone needs to look out for is Super Saturday. It is usually the weekend of August 6th. It's not always on August 6th. It's usually sometimes Friday, sometimes Sunday. But Amy and I are hosting our first Super Saturday, and I think it's the first ever Broward Super Saturday. So this is our new Broward Super Saturday logo. I don't know if you guys saw my video yesterday, but our banner has been made and printed and ready to get up on the wall. So anyone that is local to the Broward, Palm Beach, Miami area, we are doing and hosting our very first Broward Super Saturday. We are hoping to grow it to where we need to do a Broward Council, because we would love to get Autumn and Carl and all those big people at our Super Saturday events also. So, but there are Super Saturdays everywhere. Amber, I think you found one in your area, so it'd be great if you guys got together and went to Super Saturday in your area. To find one, you just go into the back office under events in Super Saturday, and it'll have information. You find your area, and it'll tell you all the Super Saturdays in your state. So that way you can get yourself to one. They're great events. This Super Saturday, the one always in August, right after Summit, gives you all the Summit information. It tells you all the new products that might be coming out, any of the new information. So just, it's a good event to go to. And now for this beautiful lady. So Nicole and I met through Beachbody. And I remember the first time we met in person was in Vegas at my very first Summit event. She kind of took me under her wing and was showing me everywhere. We hung out the whole time. She's not my upline, but we hung out the whole time, and she was telling me stuff, and I'm like, okay, who's that person? Who's that person? Because my first Summit, I was a coach for a month, and I went to Summit. Well, actually, I was a coach for a few months because I won my Summit ticket. But so she has been in the business for 2.5 years. She's got 2 teenage girls, 1 driving. She's a 2-star diamond coach, and she's a wonderful wife. She is a 2014 Premier Coach and a Success Club 10 legend. She also left her full-time job. She had been working there for 20 years, and she left her full-time job and was able to leave and work Beachbody full-time from home. So that is who we are going to hear speak to us today. You're going to get some amazing information from her. I am just going to figure out how to, here we go. Let me stop my share here. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Nicole, so we can hear all the wonderful things you have to say to us this morning.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, of course, I have all these things running through my head even before I speak, but I'm totally going to try and keep this on a time thing. Thank you, Tanya, so much for having me and asking me to do this call. One thing I will say is, yes, Tanya and I met through Beachbody. And the thing about when Beachbody came into my life, I had no idea that there was so much more out there. I have met more people that have helped me through so many things, through becoming a coach. And even like Tanya said, we're not in direct uplines or anything like that. And I think we have the same goals, we have the same ideas. And anyway, it's just, there's so many things you can get out of being a coach that you don't even realize. It's so not about the business, but it ends up being about the business, which is strange. Okay, so anyway, I just had to give that little shout out. So she's my soul sister. Anyway, so yes, today I'm going to speak on changing your mind, changing your life. And how I began, why I did this was when I became a coach, my journey was not a transformation, physical journey as a coach. My big transformation was personal development and changing, growing that way. And it's so hard to explain to people. Like some people, that I've lost 30 pounds, I've lost 50 pounds, and I'm passionate about this. When you're coming from a place of internally not, and I don't want to say not being fulfilled, because I thought I was fulfilled, but didn't realize that there was so much more to be gained by changing and growing internally and personally. And so my big change has been through personal development, which came from Beachbody coaching. That has changed my mindset, which in turn has changed my life, which has in turn has changed everything. And that is what I'm so grateful for. So my goal now is to pay it forward to people and teach them how everything in life is truly, truly based on your mindset. There are going to be circumstances. There are going to be trials and tribulations, but everything comes down to how you respond, how you react, how you deal with everything. And that comes from in here and in here. So I started several months ago, probably about 10 months ago, really diving into and reaching out to my community on speaking about this. And in May, I was able to have a live event at a facility in our town, and it was amazing. It was my first speaking engagement, and I sat there and I thought, this would have never been me in a million years prior to Beachbody coaching. I would have never been in a boatload of people talking about confidence and self-esteem and how your life can change if you're willing to do the work to change it. Never, ever, ever. And so I looked at the people in the crowd and I said, if you are sitting there and you're thinking right now that that could never be me, I said, you need to change that right now, because I was just like you and there's no reason why you can't be doing the same thing. So with that said, I am going to do a screen share as well and start my presentation. Okay, Tanya, I can do a screen share, right? Yeah, even though I'm not yep, okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get this figured out here. Okay, where are you? There it is. Move that over. Move us over. Oh boy. Okay, screen share. Okay. Okay. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
What do I want? Okay, perfect. What do I want for you to get out of this? So my goal in speaking about this is I want you to be inspired. I want you to be empowered. I want you to develop that confidence and belief. I want you to be motivated. And I'm going to teach you some things about growing yourself. Now, I will say that I am completely no expert. I like to put that out there. I have no certifications in coach life speaking. What I'm speaking about is come from my personal experience in life. It's my own things that I have taught myself. So I want you all to know that these are strictly from what I have learned. And again, I am no professional. So let's just keep that in mind. Anyway, okay. So let's start. So I don't know if many of you, obviously, we talk about mindset, and especially in this business, as a Beachbody coach, it truly is so much. We hear no constantly. We face rejection. We face criticism. We face judgment. We face so many things on a daily basis. And we need to know that our mindset is actually the core of how we progress And this can pertain to anything in life, your relationships, whether it's your other job, whether it is your own physical fitness journey. And I love this slide because how true is this? I used to think of myself, and truly before Beachbody came into my life, as I was this fixed mindset. You can just see the change here. I avoided challenge. The growth mindset embraces challenge. I used to give up easily. The growth mindset pushes through setbacks. This slide is just the epitome of how you can change your mindset and develop and grow and overcome. And I just love the fact that I'm sure everyone on this call can relate to this on some level. And I'm going to be talking about how do you go from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And this, again, is just what I've learned in my personal experience, not a professional. So this is how we're going to do this. We are going to practice. We are going to talk about affirmations. We are going to learn, and I'll teach you some skills on belief. And the main important thing on your mindset is going to be action. When I gave this talk back in May, at that point I was training for a full marathon, which some of you may know I did in June. That took me 3 years to accomplish that goal. And I like to reference that personal thing for me because 3 years is a long time to reach a goal and to try. And the setbacks you overcome, the fear you overcome, all of that is such a learning process. And whether it is your personal weight loss transformation journey, whether it is becoming certified in something, whether you may be able to relate, whether if any of you are runners and started running and ran a 5K or a 10K, you'll be able to, when I reference my marathon training and my goal, you'll be able to relate on that level. So every aspect in your life is a mindset. I talked about weight loss, me completing a race, changing your job, changing your career, building your team, building your yourself as a coach. It all comes down to mindset. And we're going to talk about blame. So the first step, we're going to talk about practice first, and then affirmations, belief, and action. Practice. So with practice, you can shift your thinking and choose your thoughts, whether they are self-critical or limited beliefs. You set yourself up daily to practice turning those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Once that happens, those beliefs turn into good feelings. When you have good feelings and positive thoughts, you are more likely to make smarter choices that lead to better circumstances. And the circle repeats itself. So when we talk about practicing those behaviors, we also make emphasis on blame. Do we blame others? It's his fault that our relationship is not working out. It's my boss's fault for making me stay late and I can't get my workout in. It's my children's fault for me not being able to accomplish this other goal of mine. There comes a time where you really need to look at yourself and the whole blame issue and be honest with yourself and say, okay, who am I blaming? Why am I blaming? And really the blame, you need to take responsibility for yourself. That's what it comes down to. And that is something that I have learned a great deal in these last couple of years as a coach. So I wanted to touch base on that. I wanted to also, the second part, we talk about affirmations. As a Beachbody coach, you know, there's your personal development, and we talk about, there are so many free tools out there for affirmations, because telling yourself over and over again, for instance, as a coach, I'm not going to, you know, Success Club is a goal for many coaches. If you're telling yourself, I'm not going to be able to hit Success Club 5 this month, you're already writing that in the book for you. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I'll never be able to complete this 5K race. I'm not good enough, I'll never be able to be picked to do this event at work. You know, whatever the case is, we constantly tell ourselves things, and you need to start changing those negative things and putting them into positive things. And that's where affirmations come into play. This is something I never ever did before becoming a coach. I never really heard of affirmations. I didn't really believe in the whole universe thing. But each morning, The Morning Miracle is an amazing book. If any of you have not read it, I highly recommend reading it. It talks about savers and starting your morning off doing a series of things. And part of that is affirmations. So what I do I like to have my positive affirmations everywhere. I have a screensaver on my phone. I have it listed in my office. I have a thing on my fridge that talks about the 10 beautiful things about you. It is so important to have that positive reinforcement anywhere and everywhere you can, because again, remember, when you're soaking that in, that it starts to develop inside of you. For instance, I told this story when I spoke. So you go to lunch with 4 of your girlfriends and you sit down and you're feeling good, right? Like you meet them and you started off, you got your workout in, got your hair, makeup on, listen to some positive motivation, 5-10 minutes of it. You're just feeling good. And you sit down and Sally starts talking about, oh my gosh, did you see Dana, what she was wearing last night? And the other girl starts talking about, oh, did you know that Tammy is now, did you see how much she gained, how much weight she gained? And then the other one talks about, my life right now, I'm just so sick of so-and-so. And it starts that negativity, you automatically start taking that in without even realizing it. And pretty soon you're sitting there going, okay, I was Miss Happy-Go-Lucky when I came. What happened? And I talk about, and we talk about this all the time too, is surrounding yourself with those positive and like-minded people. And this is where affirmations and growing yourself is going to come in handy, because I never tell anyone. I've had coaches come to me and say, my sister, for instance, has blocked me on Facebook. She can't stand that I'm so positive. She doesn't like that I post about my workouts, blah, blah, blah. What am I supposed to do? And I say, unfortunately, that is on her. Those issues come, it is not a direct reflection of you. It is what those people are going through. I'm not saying you need to cut that person out of your life. I always say you need to grow boundaries and you need to protect yourself and decide how much of yourself are you going to let in are you going to let that person in? So sitting down to lunch with all of those negative friends, and you walk away and say, and then you feel like crap. You're like, okay, that was, I don't even, you're thinking about all this negative energy and so, and you're like, where did I go? I was feeling good, and then I feel lousy. So when I say being around those people, you internalize and you let that affect you. That is up to you. You're going to allow yourself it's up to you how you decide how that's going to affect you. So I've learned in my life to set up boundaries and limit my time with others who do not have the same goals or views as myself. And it's so hard. I know how hard it is, and I know it may be easy for me to say that, but I was there once where you might be thinking, especially say for instance, it is a mother or sister or someone very close to you. How do you do that? It can be done. You have to choose what is going to be best for you in the long run. And anyway, I kind of got off on that because I could speak forever. Bottom line is, guys, is building that, doing the daily affirmations, whether it's a YouTube, whether it's something you read, positive affirmations, writing them down each and every day is going to help that process of changing your mindset to a growth mindset. And next we'll talk about, and that's what I was talking about right there. I always get ahead of myself on the slides. There comes a time in life when you walk away from all the drama and the people who create it. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh, forget the bad, and focus on the good. Love the people who treat you right. Pray for the ones who don't. Life is too short to be anything but happy. Falling down is part of life, but getting back up is. When I was at winter retreat, which Tanya and Amy were there, and Arnold from corporate spoke, one thing that really resonated with me is he told a story of how you have a cart and you're going up a hill with a cart. Do you want people in your cart that are going to help you push it up the hill? Or do you want people in your cart who are pulling on the cart, not allowing you to get up that hill? And I thought, what a very cool analogy. I mean, there was a bigger story to it, but basically that was the point. And I thought, that's so true. I want people in my cart that are going to jump in and go, let's go Mach 100, no matter what that is. I don't need and I don't want the people that are going to drag me down where I'm constantly trying to push and pull that cart to get to where I'm going. So I just threw that in there because that reminded me of Arnold's little analogy, which was really awesome. So here's another slide. So I talked about surrounding yourself with positive people. And this is another example of 3 rules in life that goes along with growth mindset. If you do not go after what you want, you will never have it. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. If you do not step forward, you'll always be in the same place. And I'm sure many of you have seen that. And when you see it, you might read it, but I really want you to read it. I really want you to think about how that can pertain to certain things in your life and how, whether you write them down and decide that's, for instance, your goals. We talk about how we write down goals and we go after them. But if you're not doing those types of things, life will pass you by. And we all know that on some form of, in some form or way. So that's just, I had that on my screensaver for probably about a year, my first year as a coach, because it always reminded me that it was up to me and what I wanted to make out of my life, and no one else was going to do it for me, strictly me. So I wanted to throw that out there. I also want to talk about the last step we're going to be talking about is action. So the fourth step in changing your growth mindset into a growth mindset is action. So what do? There's a difference between saying, okay, and I'll do this coach related. I want to become a SC5 legend. There's a difference between saying and doing. Everything we say is great, but nothing you say is going to actually come until you take action. And that is daily consistency action. For instance, my marathon, I had a training period of 6 months for my marathon. It is a commitment. It takes daily action to reach that ultimate goal. There are times when every day you don't want to do those steps, and that's fine. But when that goal is not reached, you only have yourself to blame. It is not about blaming other circumstances for not reaching that goal. It's really taking responsibility for yourself. That I literally pushed myself out the door, practically in tears at times, because I did not want to get my training run in. However, once I got done, that feeling of accomplishment and purpose of thank goodness, because the bottom line is I knew if those daily actions were not done, that goal was not going to be reached. And when you have a goal, and if that is so important to you, bottom line is you need to take action every single day if you want to reach that goal. So those are just things that can help, I hope, help you go from that fixed mindset to a changed mindset. And so that's all I want to talk about that. The last thing, one other thing I want to talk about is fear. So fear can rule us. This is something that I know everyone can relate to, no matter what it pertains to in your life. But one thing that I've really come to know in the last year, and this is through a lot of motivational YouTubes. Will Smith is the bomb, and he talks about fear, and his voice is, but okay, that's another webinar. Anyway, but when he said fear is not real, fear is not, it's not a physical thing. And if you actually sit there and think about it, it's like, wow, it is. Like, this cup is real. It's a real thing. Fear is not something physical. Fear is a thing that is in here. And if you get a chance to YouTube Will Smith and his interviews and how he talks about that, he can do a much better job on describing that. But it's interesting. So fear, we have fear of failure. Boy, I know we all do in many parts of our lives, not just with coaching, but as a parent, as a wife, as many things. There's also fear of success. which I struggled at for quite some time, which sounds really weird, but it's true. Fear of judgment, criticism from others, and fear of commitment. So breaking down the fear, again, is something that you can work on daily to overcome. And I wrote this down on my sheet when I gave this speech, and it said, I think that for women, perfectionism in our outward appearance and perception of others often fuels our fear of failure, which is really sad when you think about it, but true. The fear that we have of people's, for instance, their perception of us and how we let that affect us is something that personal development has helped me overcome. And the big thing I want to talk about with fear is how we let it completely rule us to the point where you can suffer physical debilitations from fear. We can become, go through some type of depression, fear, letting it affect us that way. And I speak from personal experience with that. But there comes a time when, if you can realize that overcoming that inanimate object is going to be your biggest hurdle. Once you decide that that is not a real thing and that it is just something up here, taking those steps and breaking it down, you can eventually overcome that. But it takes a lot of looking at ourselves and coming to terms with a lot of things, because you're never going to be able to get past that unless you really get to the root of that fear. So I'm not going to go on any further, but I would really love for y'all to Google Will Smith and how he talks about that, because it was simply, he does a much better job than I do. Oh, there he is. See, I'm never good at these slides. Fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We can choose to be afraid of growing as a coach and taking the steps that others might not be supportive, and that fear can hold you back. Or you can realize, if that is really truly what you want, you will kick fear to the curb and move forward with that. So the last thing I want to talk about is your confidence and self-esteem. That goes hand in hand, I believe, with growth mindset. And I believe, for me personally, people would say, well, Nicole, you always were a confident person. Well, there's a difference between being confident and being fake confident. And I think that I think it genuinely shows through. And this slide I found when I wanted to talk about confidence just cracked me up, because it's so true. Makeup, clothes, Jimmy Choo shoes, Coach product, purse, nothing is going to look better on you than confidence. And coming from a mother of 2 teenage daughters, when I everything that we try and do as moms, we always keep in mind, I know I do, as trying to keep in mind, okay, these are my daughters, they're watching what I'm doing. And I try to be, it's something that was, I never really got on sort of, or realized until becoming a coach, because I grew so much personally that I wasn't realizing how those things actually, how people are watching, how your children are watching. And one thing that I wanted my girls to know when I left my 20-year job is I wanted my girls to know that your dreams matter, and your dreams are the most important thing to you. And if you can chase your dreams, if there's nothing that can stop you from chasing your dreams. And I always kept that in mind as I move forward as a coach, as a wife, as a mom, and try and instill that in my girls. And part of that, you know, and I talk about confidence, I have been able to build my confidence and self-esteem definitely through Beachbody coaching, because the more I inspire others, for some reason, the more I get inspired inside. And I'm sure you can relate to that. When you have people that message you and say, oh, Tanya, I'm in your challenge group and I want to tell you, you inspire me every day. I was able to do this, and that because of you. It makes you feel good. When you feel good inside, that only builds your confidence, and in turn makes you want to do more. So when I talked about your confidence and self-esteem, there were 5 things that I do that helps me. One, we all know, is posture. If you're approaching someone, and I can't do this because I'm sitting down, but in my speech, we all know that confidence has to do also with posture. When you see that woman approaching who keeps her head down, looking at the ground, her shoulders slumped, I can guarantee you that person is lacking in self-esteem and confidence. When you approach that person who is standing direct, who is looking at you as you're approaching, you can tell that that person has confidence. So I always try, and like when I go into the grocery store or go into a store, I'm always trying to be self-aware of how I present myself, because I just feel better. I feel better. Doesn't matter if I have icky clothes on, but if I can rock my posture, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing, because again, it comes from the inside, not the outside. And I guarantee you, when you see someone approaching who is not feeling the way you're feeling, and if you can tell them, good morning, or, you know, something as simple as that, or have a nice day, you have no idea how you can change that person's life, not even just change their day, because they may not get that anywhere else. And you can walk away saying, I feel good about that. So 1, it's all about posture. 2, it's about paying attention to your internal dialogue. Again, what is the message you are constantly telling yourself? When you tell yourself you are not good enough, you are not strong enough, you are not pretty enough, that's how you feel. So you have to change that internal dialogue. You have to, they say, you play the tapes back in your mind on a daily basis. What are the tapes you're going to record for yourself? Are they going to be, I am good enough, I am strong enough, I am worthy, or are they going to be defeated tapes? So it's so, so important to change that internal dialogue, and that, I guarantee, will completely build that confidence and self-esteem. Number 3 is putting your best self forward. You know, we all feel better when we put on makeup, do our hair, put on an outfit. Even when we put on a new outfit when we go to work out, don't you feel better? I don't know what it is, but it's just weird. Then instead of wearing those 3-year stretched out pants that you need to just throw away. So get yourself a new outfit when you go work out. You'll feel better. And I talked about building someone else's self-esteem, constantly paying it forward, whether it's your friends, whether it's your coaches. It's about paying it forward, and helping others build their self-esteem will build yours. And number 5 is don't dream it, but be it. And I will close with saying, you have to think the thoughts of what you want to become, then take the actions. So if you want to become more confident, think more positive about yourself, your skills, your relationships. Shift your attention to the things you do like. Write them down on a list, your strengths and your weaknesses, and build from there. Your confidence will have so much a direct reflection on everything you do in your life, as many of you probably are aware of that. And I have been able to know for a certain fact that many coaches, it has built their confidence, which in turn has changed their lives. And then it just becomes a snowball effect. So that is the last thing I want to talk about. I'm sorry that I talked for so long, but I'm just a talker and I can't help it. So I want to just say thank you very much for having me, Tanya. And thank you to the coaches. I hope everybody learned something out of this, whether it was big or small, whether it was eye-opening or not. I hope you gained something and can move forward, whether it's in your coaching business, your personal business, your professional business. I hope there is some nugget that can change you, and I hope you take these steps and know that, again, it all comes down to here and what you do to move forward. So I'm going to shush my mouth now. So,
Nicole, that was awesome. Thank you so much for getting up early, because I know you're in a totally different time zone than us, so it's super early for you to get up and talk. And I do have to piggyback on what you said about removing the negative. This is something that I did almost a year ago. Family, some was family, really close friends that were like family. It is a hard thing to do, but I can say once I did it, the growth within me and my business was astronomical. It was like 2 totally different lives. So it really is, it changes so many things when you start putting your life in that positive place and you start being able to pinpoint, and you'll notice you're going to start outgrowing people. Because you're doing the affirmations, you're being more positive, you look at things differently than how you used to. So you start to outgrow people around you. And it's a very hard thing to face sometimes. But I tell you, once you get through that fear of facing it, my life has been totally different, and all for the better. My relationship with Alex is so much better. Dealing with hardships through my family, I face them in such a different manner than how the old Tanya would face it. I actually had something come up in my family last night, and the normal Tanya would be like, F this, F that. How dare her send me a message? How dare her contact me? And I looked at it in such a different way because I'm in a different place. I'm a different person. So it's not just helping us with our business. It's all around. And for the Will Smith, I post a lot of his motivational speeches on our team page because every time I watch one of his, I'm like, he's just mind blowing. The way his mind works and how he sees things is amazing to me. So I utilize a lot of his videos. He's great to watch. But that was awesome. I cannot wait to post this recording so the rest of the team and who couldn't get on it. And I'll send you the link. So if you want to
that'd be great.
Team. But I can't thank you enough. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I knew it would be a great call.
Well, thank you.
Have to find the time and make the time to get on this call because it's going to be an awesome call.
So thank you.
Appreciate it. It was awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Nicole or anything before we close the call out, or for myself? Everyone's good? Okay.
Good. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome. I'm going to get my tattoo now, Amy.
Yeah,
I'm going today too.
Are you?
You're getting a new one today?
Yeah, me and Jonathan are getting matching tattoos before he leaves for college.
Didn't you tell, Tanya, all of your coaches that if they were on the call that they had to go get a tattoo today?
I'm there. I want to think.
Me too.
Want to tinker. Thank you all so much for getting on and showing support and getting on to listen to Nicole. I'm sure you got a lot out of it. Hi, Lee.
She said hi.
Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Whoever's